All right, so this is the first part of a multi-part on how you can capture Confluent Kafka broker metrics using in InfluxDB and then using Grafana to run the dashboardy kind of stuff. So the way this is actually going to work is we're going to monitor Confluent, Kafka, the broker statistics. And actually, we'll be able to get Zookeeper and other statistics because they actually store their data in Kafka, their metrics data. So this is metrics, not tracing, not logging. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to run the Kafka servers with streaming data in them. And then that actually, by default, gets exposed as JMX metrics, beans. And we're going to add a Java agent, the Jolokia Java Agent, that will actually express the JMX metrics on a REST endpoint. It'll expose it. And then what we do is we're going to configure Telegraf, which is a good take data from one place and then put it into InfluxDB or other data stores. We're going to use the Jolokia 2. It's actually the Jolokia plugin, but it's like the second for a complete rewrite. We're going to use that as an input plugin. That's going to pull the REST endpoint on a regular basis. And then on a regular basis, it's going to write that out to the InfluxDB output adapter. That's going to store it in the InfluxDB time series database. And then we'll be able to see that with Grafana. And this is actually going to be pretty straightforward. Probably the main hang-up of this is we need to build, we're going to do this all in Docker. So we need a Docker image with the Jolokia adapter in it, with the Jolokia Java Agent. And so we're going to run the custom broker Docker image. It's exactly like the Confluent Docker image, except we added this agent. We're going to run a Docker compose, and we're going to enable the Java agent and bind the Jolokia onto all the IP addresses that Docker container runs on. So each one of these boxes represents a Docker container. And then we're going to configure Telegraf and run a standalone agent, which means a standalone container with the adapter enabled and with the InfluxDB enabled. And we're going to build a config file that knows how to query the Jolokia REST endpoint. So then Telegraf will run with this new config, and it's going to retrieve the data from the REST endpoint and send it to InfluxDB. And then in Grafana, we can actually provide the visualization. So this is super straightforward. We're going to do everything in Docker. So we have to build a custom image. And if you go to this GitHub repo, you'll actually find that there is a README that describes how to do all of this. And there's also another picture, kind of like the one I'm showing you, that shows how this is going to be wired together. I did this in Draw.io. And it will, you have two options. You can either build a new container, a new image, or you can use the one that's actually up on Docker Hub. And then basically you just follow these instructions and you should be ready to go. So that's the goal out of this. This is talk one. I wanted the videos to be pretty short. And what else is in here? So the Docker file, the only thing I'm going to point out here is for this custom thing, all we're going to do is get the Jolokia jar file and add it. And then when we run this, we're going to run it. And I'm going to cover this again in the next one. When we run Kafka, you know what? I'm going to pull it up here. When we run Kafka using the Kafka Docker compose, you can see that we're going to add this Java agent there. So I'll cover that again in the next talk. That's what we're going to do. And like I said, you can see this README on my blog, or you can see the README in this GitHub repo that has all the instructions in it.